This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good evening, welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Engine number one, the small hedge fund that successfully got two of its four nominees elected to ExxonMobil's board of directors this week, has indicated that it will be pressing management of the oil giant to shift its output strategy. Now, engine number one had its challenge with attaining board seats. This was rooted in its dissatisfaction with ExxonMobil's emissions output. Now, Charlie Penner, the leader of the campaign against ExxonMobil, said that the company will need to cut fossil fuel production. He went on to say that engine number one will give Exxon time to develop a new strategy, but cautioned that one ought to be cognizant that the energy transition is happening faster than expected, thereby undermining Exxon's assumptions about long-term demand for its oil. At the end of the day, engine number one said, ExxonMobil going forward must plan for a world that does not need its barrels. And coming from BBC, oil and gas giant Total SA will be rebranded as Total Energies as it shifts some of its focus towards renewable energy sources. This move comes on the heels of shareholders voting overwhelmingly in favor of the move and approving the firm's environmental goals. Total, the world's fourth largest privately owned oil and gas producer, is aiming to reach carbon neutrality by 2050, in part by investing in more solar and wind power projects. It should be noted that big energy firms are coming under increasing pressure to adjust to a lower carbon world. And moving on, the AFC recently registered its concern that there appears to be less than adequate measures or plans in place, including oversight capabilities by government agencies to handle all radioactive, toxic, and hazardous wastes produced by the oil companies operating locally in a safe and environmentally sound manner. As such, the party said it is concerned with the reported chaos and non-responsiveness meted to Guyanese people by the EPA at legislatively held public meetings related to locations of treatment, storage, and disposal facilities in their neighborhoods for the handling of highly toxic, hazardous, and radioactive waste material generated by oil companies' operations. And now let's tell you, following his meeting with President Dr. Irfan Ali and Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, Hess Corporation's CEO, John Hess, said he is of the understanding that the PPPC government is desirous of expediting the approval process for the Yellowtail project, the fourth to be developed on the Stabroek Block. He was keen to note that the Ali administration is very pro-business, while adding that it wants oil investments to be accelerated. Now, Dr. Jagdeo said that Hess's understanding of the perspectives exchanged and the government's position on the matter was accurate, while adding that before year-end provides ample time for all issues with the project to be addressed. And with news coming from thehill.com, Chevron shareholders on Wednesday backed a proposal for the company to cut its emissions. A spokesperson for the company confirmed to The Hill that a preliminary total for the measure calling for cuts to the company's Scope 3 emissions showed 6 to 1% support. Scope 3 emissions are those that aren't directly tied to the company's fuel production, but rather those that come from activities like consumer use of such fuel. The support for such a measure shows that shareholders see climate change as a growing concern. In a statement in the company's annual meeting, Chairman and CEO Michael Worth also mentioned emissions reductions. And moving on, CEO of GWI, Sheikh Baksh, yesterday disclosed that the state-owned company will be moving to recover some $29.8 million that was recently discovered missing from its bank account. Last Friday, the company had announced that a fraud was perpetuated at a commercial bank, which led to millions being removed from its account. Sheikh Baksh said what has happened is that the fraud was committed in a commercial bank using forged wire transfer of documents, and the account at that bank was debited. According to Baksh, the company has since written to the commercial bank to replenish their monies back to their account and noted that the police were also called in. And to wrap things up this evening, let's tell you Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire yesterday ordered Registrar of the Supreme Court, Suwana Lovell, to release certified copies of the statements of polls and statements of recount for a police investigation into fraud cases being prosecuted in relation to the March 2020 elections. Previously, in dismissing the first election case, the Chief Justice had ordered that the documents be released to the Supreme Court Registrar for safekeeping until the hearing and determination of the second election petition filed to challenge the outcome of the elections. And with that, we've come to the end of this evening's newscasts. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening. Coming up at exactly 19:20 is the Glenn Lal Show. Tell it as it is.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Guyana, please join me on the Glenn Lal Show, 99.1, 99.5 FM, Kaieteur Radio, every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast of the next day at 11 a.m. just in case you missed that program.
With the time moving on to 19:07, coming up next, a short presentation from the publisher of the Kaieteur News, Mr. Glenn Lal.
Our leaders brought in a few Canadians, give them concessions galore, give them mining land for free to explore. When the people find gold, they find a Chinese from China, sell it to them, collect $323 million US. That money didn't come to Guyana. That money went to the Canadian bank account. And what did Guyana get? What did me and you got? Nothing. Not even 323 Guyana cents. But we are left with a Chinese company right now as I speak, with the same concessions, the same tax breaks that is there fetching our gold. What are we getting? A matter of fact, they don't even want to hire locals. And if the Kaieteur News start, they're going to say we racist. We don't like Chinese. And this is what is going on, my friend. Thank you. This is what our leaders is allowing to happen. You know, if you wanted a mining land to go prospect, you can't get it. You can't get no concession. You can't get no tax breaks. But a foreigner can come here and get it in the twinkle of our eyes. So, read through the line what's going on. Read through the line. A man is flying in here and a government hand them land like that for free. No, something is going on. Some greediness is happening here, but not for me and you.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. Welcome to the Friday, May 28th edition of the National Outlook. Hey, it's Friday. We've made it. We had a holiday during the week, and now we are here. And I've got to close out the week. Remember, this is the National Outlook. We cover things that have national emphasis, national interest, national implications. Late last week, 4 men are country's latest COVID-19 fatalities. Here's why I bring that up. Out of the 4, listen to this, The deaths are that of a 37-year-old man. I repeat, a man 37 years old. The other, a 54-year-old man, and another one, 50. So 3 out of the 4 deaths from last week are people just one under 50 and 2 in the 50s and 1 at 73. Okay, older people are more vulnerable. They have more risk factors. We don't know, it does not say, and I think that's good for privacy, what the 50 and 54-year-old and the 37 may have had other than the COVID. But the point I want to make here to you, my fellow Guyanese, as we keep preaching and pleading for social distancing, for masking, for washing hands, for observing whatever rules, stay indoors as much as you can, avoid the gathering places, the rum